Hello, beautiful, and welcome to your first video of the year from this channel. If you don't know me, my name is Bethany, and here at The Curated Feminine, I help women to connect to the most elevated, incredible version of their lives, mostly through the lens of feminine energy, and especially through psychology. Now, today we're covering something that I cannot believe I've never covered on this channel. I've covered it in tidbits here and there, but I've never gone in depth. And it's on healing unhealthy perfectionism. And the reason this is your first video from this channel of 2025 is because so much of feeling authentic, so much of feeling really rooted in who you are, feeling calm, peaceful, magnetic, attracting the right people, a lot of that is rooted in authenticity. And one of the best ways to become truly authentic, to truly become yourself, is to heal your perfectionistic tendencies. So there's two types of perfectionism, and I get this comment decently often on my channel, and it's a lack of people fully understanding the concept, which is okay, and B, sometimes it's a lack of critical thinking, honey. So I'm gonna teach you how to really deeply think about this. There's two types of perfectionism, right? So there is healthy perfectionism and there is unhealthy perfectionism. So if you think about athletes, chefs, I don't know if you've seen The Bear. It's the most incredible show, and you are so eager for the growth of the characters in that show, but it's about a guy who inherits a restaurant, okay, and then he elevates it. And there's a lot of stress, and there's so many different things that happen, but there's so much character growth throughout the show. That's what keeps you really hooked. Anyway, you will see that he's got an unhealthy level of perfectionism. He's stressing all the time. He's anxious. He has panic attacks, and those are rooted in other things. But he's taken what could be a healthy level of perfectionism and swung it too far, where it's like, I'm not worthy unless things are perfect. I'm not good enough unless things are perfect. Whereas healthy perfectionism looks like an athlete who's striving for success. So I'll give you another movie example. If you've ever seen King Richard, which is the story of Venus and Serena Williams, he goes through this as the most perfect example. So, and I don't know how much of it is accurate, by the way, because apparently not every aspect of his life and their lives is portrayed correctly in the movie. There's probably some more unhealthy things that maybe weren't in the movie. I don't know, because it's really not my business. Either way, it's a brilliant movie. And what you'll see in there is he teaches his daughters, Venus and Serena, how to strive for success, but he never lets them slip into unworthiness. So he'll push them so hard to become amazing at tennis, which is how they became the women that they are today. But he won't let reporters put any negativity into their minds. He won't let them speak badly about themselves in any way. You'll see several scenes where it's like other athletes are so hard on themselves. It's like they crumble their own self-worth. And Venus and Serena don't do that. They mess up and they're like, right, I've got this. Let's go again, right? That's healthy perfectionism. That's striving for excellence in a way that benefits you, benefits the broader community, benefits humanity. If we want to get really macro about it, right? If you can learn to garner really high standards and excellent standards, this is beautiful for yourself and for other people, right? If we didn't have people aiming for healthy perfectionism, we wouldn't have any of the modern inventions that we have today, electricity, Wi-Fi, the light bulb, none of that. All of that comes with striving for success and striving for excellence. That's how we have the world that we have today. Unhealthy perfectionism is feeling like you are not worthy unless you do things perfectly. It's like your self-worth is tied into how well you do. That's unhealthy perfectionism. So the way that perfectionism pertains to masculine energy, and just to recap, if you haven't watched my videos before, there's masculine and feminine energy. Masculine energy is good, okay? We're not here to become pure feminine beings, or we'd get nothing done, quite frankly, okay? But when you're looking at masculine versus feminine energetics, if you feel burnt out, tired, like you're trying to control things all the time, that's rooted in perfectionism, which is a very masculine way of doing things. It's like, I need to control the outcome. I need everything structured, planned. There's a high level of logic and a lot of black and white thinking. Perfectionism is deeply rooted in black and white thinking. And feminine energy is more about flow and being able to really thrive in the gray. So there are many ways to heal perfectionism in a deep way. And by the way, I have a course on that called The Feminine Blueprint. It's amazing. It takes you through every single bit of my body of work, including healing perfectionism, inner child healing, masculine and feminine energy wounds. So it goes through everything in depth. and it's too much to cover in one video. But I will say this, when it comes to healing perfectionism, you want to think about what the root cause is. So could it be that your father only really showed you love and affection if you're behaving a certain way? Could it be that your mother became so angry if you didn't achieve an A that you felt like maybe you weren't loved? Doesn't mean that you weren't loved, but you felt that way, because as children, we don't always process things. We don't process ways at all the way that we process things as adults, right? There's not very much structure or logic to the way that a child thinks a lot of the time. There's a lot more emotions involved because of the way that their brains are developing. So is it possible that because of your upbringing, you were taking feedback that you were given from your parents, from aunties and uncles, from people around you, from school, and internalizing that as, if I don't behave just so, then I'm not good enough, right? So you want to really think about what the root cause is of your unhealthy levels of perfectionism. Now, I'll give you one very actionable step to healing perfectionism. I think I've spoken about this on here before. My first mentor taught me how to do this. And I remember when she first said it, it's like everything just clicked. It made so much sense. It's the most actionable thing ever, and I still use it to this day. And it's taking the aspects of you that are imperfect and creating kind of like a character for them and loving them and inserting humor into your life. So that would look like, if you have a habit of accidentally sending typos in emails, that would be like, I love you, typo Bethany. You really keep things fun, right? If you have a habit of overcooking steaks and they're always just not great, right? I'm from Texas. We don't overcook steaks in Texas, right? And every time you cook a steak, it's just like, it's not quite what you're aiming for. You could say like, we love wannabe chef Bethany. She's doing her absolute best and she keeps things unpredictable for the family, right? So you want to separate the aspects of yourself that are quote unquote flawed and treat them like they're a cute sidekick. All right, the next step is, I want you to think about the importance of quote unquote failure. I want you to think about the importance of not always doing things right the first time. So I often view things through the lens of, what would the most successful entrepreneur do? How would a really successful person behave in this situation, right? So when it comes to making decisions without being a complete perfectionist and overthinking, when it comes to handling mistakes, think about what a high-powered executive would be doing in those situations. And I am a recruiter during the day, so I can tell you what they do. They tend to view it as failure is part of life, and failure helps me to learn. So I'm on to the next thing, right? I don't wallow in my failure. I don't beat up on myself about failure, because it's so incredibly human. It's so human to fail. I was watching, so when I'm feeling unwell, I tend to watch reality shows in like the sales space, like $1 Million Listing, or what's the latest one, Owning Manhattan. I like those because it's like I can just kind of shut my mind off while my body recovers. And I was feeling a little bit sick a couple days ago, so I was watching Owning Manhattan, and I was thinking back to years ago how I used to watch characters in shows like that and think, oh, like how stressful, like they made a mistake, they got yelled at, they did this, they did that. And now I'm just like, oh, like, you've got this, honey, it's okay. Because I know that when you make mistakes, you learn through it, and every single human being in the world is flawed, and we'd be really, really boring if we were all perfect. And you learn through your mistakes and you move on, and you do it better the next time. Like, that is the entire point of mistakes. You're supposed to be failing all the time. So when we hold ourselves to perfectionistic standards, it's like we're trying to control ourselves and every single outcome of life. It is absolutely exhausting. And that will keep you out of your feminine energy. So if you are a woman who tends to be more in her masculine, which is probably how you found this channel, if you are a woman who tends to suffer from burnout and strive all the time and doesn't know how to shut her brain off and struggles with polarity in her relationship, if you've been like a boss lady for so long that you don't know how to fully unwind and let go, then you probably have perfectionistic tendencies. And the thing is, you're supposed to be flawed or you would be really, really boring. Like, people don't like boring people. You wouldn't like yourself if you were perfect. Sorry, people don't like perfect people. You wouldn't like yourself if you were perfect. It is incredibly boring. Like, if you think about people who never let you into their more vulnerable side, if you think about people that never admit when they're wrong, it's so boring because you can't fully connect with them. It's like there's a lack of authenticity there. And so learning to flow with your mistakes and learning to embrace them through humor, like I spoke about before, like through kind of naming the different aspects of you that do those particular flaws, make those particular mistakes, and like thanking them for existing and keeping things interesting, that's really important. And so is understanding that executives don't sit there and wallow in their mistakes. Like they learn through them and they move on, right? So being a perfectionist will keep you trapped in a loop of never truly being authentic. And being authentic is really, really important. Until you are truly yourself with yourself and with other people, you won't be able to attract the kind of romantic relationship that you want. Or if you're currently in one, you won't be able to get it to maybe the level that you've been dreaming about. You won't be able to have disagreements in a way that's actually conducive to resolution at all. If you are such a perfectionist that you can't admit when you're wrong, you'll never truly get to the root cause of issues that you have with other people, right? Because you'll be keeping your authentic self out of those disagreements. When you heal your perfectionism, you become more authentic. And same thing with girlfriends. Unless you are your true authentic self, you're not going to be attracting girlfriends that are actually what you want. You'll be attracting girlfriends that are like the facade of what you are. And that's exhausting, let me tell you, because I've been there. Years ago, I was there. So healing your perfectionistic tendencies, your unhealthy perfectionistic tendencies, will help you to deepen your level of authenticity and your own comfort with yourself. And the more comfortable you are with yourself, the more beautiful your relationships are, the better opportunities you attract, and the more magnetic you are. I've spoken about magnetism before on this channel. Magnetism comes in part from healing your perfectionism. So if you want to be magnetic, if you want to be that girl, I don't know what we say these days, it changes all the time. If you want to be her, if you want to be the woman on your vision board, then you need to let go of perfectionism and start embracing being messy and flawed and incredible like you are, because you are incredible because of your flaws. And this is the last thought that I will leave you with. If you look at every one of your strengths, right? So you know how they say your greatest strength is your greatest weakness. If you look at all of your strengths, the other side of the coin with all of your strengths is the weaknesses that you experience, right? So if you have perfectionistic tendencies, you probably have really high standards in life for yourself, right? Like that's an amazing strength. You're probably not lazy. That's an amazing strength. And then on the flip side, at least your perfectionistic tendencies. So learning, really understanding that, okay, for every one of these things, that's a flaw. For every bit of myself that isn't perfect, the flip side of that is an incredible strength, the specific combination of which nobody else on this earth has. Like nobody else has your exact personality. There's people a lot like you out there, but nobody is precisely you. So all of your flaws are also your greatest strengths, and trying to hide them, diminish them, get rid of them is holding you back from truly being yourself. And in 2025, we're not here to not be ourselves. We're here to be authentic women connected to our feminine energy with the most juicy, delicious lives that we cannot freaking wait to wake up to. And healing perfectionism will start to get you there. If you want to dive into all of this deeper, like I mentioned before, I have my course called The Feminine Blueprint. It gives you a framework for all of the different layers that lead to the most incredible life ever. It starts with helping you to really evaluate the inner work that you need to do, including healing perfectionism, teaches you how to do that, inner child healing, goes through masculine and feminine energy, and it goes all the way through to really creating the vision of your future self and what she looks like. It helps you to become her, the woman on your vision board. So if you want that, the link is down below. Thank you so much for watching. And please make sure that you like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram or TikTok if you want to connect. And I will see you in the next video.